Good evening and welcome back to the Africanadian Resource Center. Tonight, Friday, we bring you another program. Tonight, we are going to focus on the Nigerian community, but also talk about business, doing business in Canada as African Canadians, and to also see what are the things that you can do in terms of preparation to succeed here in Canada. We wanted to continue to bring you, obviously, the reports from Nigeria. And so shortly, we are going to be bringing you a guest who has a few things to say about what's taking place in Nigeria. And of course, we're going to talk to him also about his work here in Canada. We wanted to talk to him. But first, before we do, let's show you some of the coverage in terms of the SARES movement and what this whole protest in Nigeria is about.
Since the beginning of October, the Nigerian hashtag #EndSARS has flooded social media. Millions have been posting about it, and Twitter itself has even made a personalized emoji for the hashtag. Despite this, many around the world still don't have a clue what it means. Many are unaware that thousands of citizens in Nigeria are in the streets protesting against police brutality. The protests have even spread to countries outside of Nigeria like London and New York because of the large Nigerian populations in those areas. #EndSARS has become a powerful movement that Nigerians are risking their lives to fight for. The protests themselves are centered on ending the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, also known as SARS. SARS was a Nigerian police unit that was created in 1992 to handle crimes like robbery, motor vehicle theft, and kidnapping. The primary cause of the unit's creation was because of a feud between the Nigerian army and the police force that led police officers to withdraw from their stations, which opened the doors to infamous criminals to take control of Lagos and commit crimes with impunity. The situation meant that a special task force was needed to restore order to the country, and SARS was what the Nigerian government decided on. While SARS may have started with good intentions, the anti-robbery squad has done anything but good. It's become incredibly controversial because of how they violate the rights of Nigerian citizens. In fact, there are thousands of stories from Nigerians that expose the crimes of SARS. The unit has been known to kill, torture, kidnap, extort, and even rape helpless citizens. The people that have suffered the most under SARS are the youth, who are constantly targets for their crimes. Despite SARS sins being obvious, very few, if any, members of the force are ever held accountable. This has led Nigerians, especially the youth, to speak out against them. Protests and anti-SARS sentiment can be traced back to 2017, but it wouldn't be until October 8, 2020 when a video of a young Nigerian man being shot and killed by a SARS police officer went viral. Suddenly, protests were nationwide. Even Nigerian celebrities and influencers came out in support of the movement. Organizations have also sprung up to bring aid to protesters and support those in need. Protesters have made many demands, such as appropriately compensating the families of deceased victims of police brutality, the creation of an independent body set up to oversee the investigation of all reports of police misconduct, psychological evaluation of all disbanded SARS members, and increased police salary. The protests have made some progress. SARS has formally been disbanded. This doesn't mean the struggle is over though. Immediately after the dissolution of SARS, the Nigerian government created the Special Weapon and Tactics Team, which seems to have little difference from SARS. Because of this, the Nigerian citizens haven't given up on protesting. The Nigerian government fiercely opposes the protests though, and have committed atrocities in their efforts to end them. On October 20th, the Nigerian army cut off electricity and shot into a crowd of peaceful protesters, leading to the deaths of 12 protesters and many more injured. The Nigerian government disputes this, saying that only one person died, despite video evidence of that being false. Nigerians have coined the event as the Lekki Massacre, and has only fueled the protesters' passion for change. The government seems to have little interest in producing genuine change, so Nigerians have a tough fight to achieve the changes they deserve. If you want to get involved and support the protesters, then donate to organizations that are helping them on the ground. The Feminist Coalition is a major nonprofit helping provide medical and legal aid to protesters in need. Another excellent group is the Nigerian Diaspora Against SARS, which uses any money donated to support protesters in Nigeria. Check out the links in my bio if you want to go donate to these groups. If donating isn't an option for you in these pandemic times, then the most important way is to help spread the word. Without viral support, then organizations won't get donations and protesters won't get aid. So spread the word of what #EndSARS is and what to do to help. Retweet, repost, share on your story, and do whatever you can to keep spreading the message of #EndSARS. Get involved to be part of the movement, because without a unified effort, nothing will change.
Dr. Baro, welcome to our show.
Thank you very much, Kizdo. How are you doing today?
I'm doing really good. How are you?
I'm very well today. It's a great day. The weather is great, so I'm very well. Pleased to be here. How about you? How's today?
It's good with as always. Obviously, like you're saying, the weather is good.
Okay.
Something we don't expect during these months of October towards November, but we know there is a lot of things that are happening beyond
Yeah.
that. But absolutely, you're right. We thank God for at least waking up healthy. You know,
Yeah. Most definitely. Thanks for having me.
absolutely. Tell the audience who are you and what you do here in Canada.
Okay. My name is Dr. Baro. That's my artistic name, and I am a motivational writer and speaker, and I share motivational content on how to make people live consistently better lives every single day, and how to add values to their immediate community. And by so doing, you're one step better than you are every single day you wake up. And I lived in Nigeria for the first 33 years of my life, and back then I trained and worked as a medical doctor, and also delved into public health research, and I do that on the side also here in Canada. So I'm a new immigrant to Canada, and I currently reside in Ottawa too.
All right. So, as a new immigrant, that's really maybe a good perspective. How has Canada been for you? And also tell us how long you've been in Canada for.
Look, I've been in Canada for almost 1 year now. I came in on the 2nd of December, and I it's kind of a new experience. Back home in Nigeria, almost everyone you saw was like you. They had the same skin color, the same culture, the same traditions, more or less like the same values, right? But then we come here and we see people of different ethno-racial backgrounds and people with different perspectives about life, and basically you try to be a good citizen, do what you have to do, and like I always say, always be a better version of who you are. So that's how it is.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think learning from, I've been here for the last 20 years or so. I
Okay.
think once you come with that sort of mindset, you're most
Yeah.
likely going to succeed here in Canada, because I think the challenge for many of us, obviously, there is the racism that takes place.
Yeah.
But if you can pass through all of that and just
Yeah.
focus on all you need to do, you're most likely going to succeed. Many of us
Yeah.
learn that late, like myself.
Okay.
But if you pick it up from early times as you just arrived, you do just
Yeah.
fine.
That's cool. Thanks.
Yeah. So tell us about the movement and SARS in Nigeria. What are your thoughts on what's going on today?
The
Maybe give us
NSAS
also a little
move.
bit of update on what's happening as of today,
Yeah.
October 23rd.
Yeah, most definitely. I'll talk about that. The NSARES movement. I would just summarize it before I delve into it. It's been a long time coming. You know, for many years, the Nigerian government have laid the foundation for this type of struggle by their consistent systemic factors that have been inherent within the Nigerian political culture. For many years, I think SARS is the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, and it's a branch of the police. It was formed either in the late 80s or in the 90s, yeah, because then I was still young. And it was as a response to the escalating rates of armed robbery in Nigeria then. So their primary task was to apprehend armed robbers. And I will repeat it again. Their primary task was to apprehend armed robbers. But as has been the culture of some parastatals in the government, where most members of those parastatals and teams engage in random acts of impunity without accountability to the people, right? So they delved from their primary task, which is to apprehend armed robbers, and started harassing citizens. So for a young person in Nigeria, it is a crime to have massive beards, just like I have now. It is a crime to have dreadlocks. It is a crime to have tattoos. It's a crime to use an iPhone. And for many years, SARS have been doing these things, engaging in police brutality. They will arrest people if you cannot bail yourself out with bribe. Sometimes you could be shot dead. And for many years, the Nigerian youth have been conversing and talking to their representatives at the legislature, make change, make meaningful changes. No one wanted to listen up until this year when a video went viral. The members of the SARS in a city in the south part of Nigeria, they have accosted a young person, shot at the young person and drove away with the young person's car. And that was when Nigerians said enough is enough. We cannot keep talking to the legislature. You have to go to the streets and peacefully protest. But unfortunately, because of the non-response from the government, some hoodlums hijacked some of the protests in some places and engaged in destruction. And that was what led to the Lekki massacre on the 20th day of October 2020. Nigerian youths will never forget that day, the day the Nigerian government sent the military to shoot at peaceful protesters. And that is why Nigerians all over the world, including in Canada, have been protesting here in Ottawa and all over the cities we are protesting. There must be meaningful change within the government. Merely changing the name from SARS to SWAT doesn't change anything. It is still the same members of SARS that will still be hired to make up the SWAT. So that's more or less like the summary.
Our previous guest has said that yes, there is a new, obviously SWAT is the new unit that is going to be set in place, but the president, or at least whoever that set up this group, they are saying that the original members of SARS won't be part of this new group. Would that be satisfactory to you or to the young people that are reading this movement, or do you think it has to be a broader change like our previous guest mentioned?
See, Kizito, we have to understand something about the members of the Nigerian, and this struggle is not against this current government. It is against the political nonchalance that has existed within the Nigerian culture. Previous governments have been making the same promises. Let me ask you, these members of SARS, do you know how many there are all over the country? Where are they going to go? All of a sudden, they're going to become jobless? I mean, since 2017, they've been making, since 2017, they've been making these same promises. We are going to reform SARS. We are going to change this unit from the other. But these people, are they going to roam the street jobless and start business all over again? No.
Or will they be sitting behind the desk and not go to the street like they do here in Canada? If you do something,
you understand what I'm saying? They don't do that. Because they would also find alternatives to get them into, and we don't trust what they say. So changing from SARS to SWAT doesn't change anything, because it's still the same corrupt police officers and also that will be put into the new system. Let me give you an update, Kizito. Up until today, a young Nigerian recounted how the members of SARS that have been disbanded accosted him in Abeokuta, a small town in the southwestern part of the country. So how can a member of a disbanded unit still be working as of today? Think about it.
Yeah. And are the protests still happening right now? Has there been a pause? I know on the 20th of October that was the case. Obviously, there's still some protests. But what is the actual current, like as of today, Friday? Were there still people on the street?
No, the video circulating on social media, there's been calm in many parts of the country. In the southeastern parts of the country, I think calm has been restored. And in Lagos, the capital, yes, calm has been restored. But the citizens have been holding riots, not necessarily related to SARS, but against other forms of other impunity that the government have been carrying out. The ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, there were palliatives that were disbursed for the hungry citizens of the country. And if you go on social media, there are videos circulating where these poor and hungry members of the country are going to warehouses where these palliatives have been stored. So this movement goes beyond SARS. It's about reforming the whole systems in the country. Young Nigerians want to be safe back home. I mean, it is very easy for professionals like us to say, okay, we've had enough. When I was in Nigeria, I was constantly harassed by members of the SARS. Even when I showed them my ID card that I was a medical doctor, back then I used to sport massive beards. Even when I showed them I was my ID card, I was a medical doctor, they still didn't believe it. Sometimes in 2006, they collected money from me. Then I was still in medical college. And it's easy for young people like us to say, okay, we've had enough. We are going to migrate and leave the country. That was what happened to many of us. Young professionals left the country. But there are
Yeah.
many people in Nigeria that don't have the resources to leave the country. So we are still going to speak on their behalf and continue the struggle.
Yeah, and also to me that is the point. If we are going to leave Africa, as we all
Yeah,
do, we should leave Africa to go gain knowledge and skills, not run away
exactly.
from our countries because
Exactly.
the conditions are so tough that we cannot be
Exactly.
there. And to me, a
Yeah.
country like Nigeria that has been peaceful for a very long time, to be
Yeah.
still living through that conditions, that's really a failure. And I was mentioning this in our previous show, and I'm continuing to beat this drum until we can, I don't know, obviously I don't know what the influence I would ever have, but to me, it is a failure when we look at the independence movements and we are here in 2020 and our people are still running away from our nations, not because we want to pursue better education, everything. We are running away because the conditions are just so bad.
Exactly.
How do we change that from your perspective as a doctor, but also as a person who is looking to motivate people, young people?
yeah,
How do we go from where we are to where we should be as Africans?
I will encourage young people not to give up hope. Since we've been in this, I mean, while we were growing up, our parents told us stories about these similar things that happened in their generation. They never gave up. For some of them, they had opportunities to live many countries in Africa. My parents were professors then. They chose not to leave because they had hope that Nigeria would get better. But it's like a threshold. It comes to a point in your life. It's like a threshold. You have to be honest with yourself. And in my work as a self improvement writer, I speak and talk and write about self awareness and self honesty. You must become self aware of what is going on. And the second stage is that you have to be honest with yourself, be totally honest. Can I stay back in my country in Africa and make the change that I want? Or can I leave for a developed country where they value my skills and expertise? And then I can have the resources to go back home and make meaningful change. My point is we should not give up hope as young Africans. And whenever we leave, we should not forget the motherland. And that is why I am impressed that many Nigerians all over the world have been mobilizing themselves to speak against the impunity that is going on in the motherland. They didn't just leave to say, okay, I've forgotten about the home and let them just do what they want to do. But they still believe that somehow they can use the resources and their newly found positions to make meaningful change. So that is what I will keep canvassing and keep speaking for.
And let me say this, I've been impressed by the presence of the Nigerian community here in Canada, especially here in Toronto. Our next guest has a business
Okay.
here in Toronto and has done well. Also, we have a lot of Nigerian members in Toronto who have been affected
Okay.
by what's going on in Nigeria. But overall,
Yeah.
it's impressive how your community is doing here in Canada. And I think the challenge, or at least like asking people to never give up, I think it's
Yeah.
something that is we need to do. But for your communities, definitely throughout these crises, you have been incredibly together, and that's
Yeah.
something that we want to see across the continent. And to even
Continent.
jump to the next point you raised is, for me, I think when we live here, and this is maybe a question to you, when we get here to Canada and we acquire the skills or we work within the fields that we wanted to work into, as you said, be able to be appreciated for what we do, then we choose to go back home. My question to
Yeah.
you is, for those of us that go back home, do we
Yeah.
really work to improve the lives of the people there, or do we also do the oppression that we run away from?
I'll speak from my experience in the past couple of years in Nigeria because from the year to, I think from 2011 there was a large increase in the number of Nigerians coming back home from abroad, and when they came back, they had intentions to invest massively in Nigeria. Many of them bought stocks and shares, and they were trying to make meaningful change. But like I always said, there are systemic factors that are already existing in the political structure. They are bottlenecks. It's like you want to, for instance, in some communities in Nigeria, if you want to build borehole to provide portable and easily accessible water for the citizens, right? You have to pay some kind of money to the community, and you be wondering, but I want to do this for free for you. Why would I pay more money? So
Yeah.
there are factors that keep there are bottlenecks, and that is why when most people come back home to make meaningful change, more or less at the point they have to be honest and they have to say, you know what, time's out. They don't want this. But I keep saying someday there will be change. The young people all over Africa are rising up and saying enough is enough. And to be honest with you, Kizito, I know probably this is the first time that in a long while that Nigerians, irrespective of ethnic, tribal differences or religious differences, came together in one voice to speak against the political system. You understand? I mean, when in situations where you find it is probably when Nigeria is playing soccer against another country. You know that that's when they enjoy that. But
Absolutely.
now,
Actually, you guys always bring us together as Africans because at one point it was only Nigeria that represented the whole continent. So yeah, absolutely.
yeah, but this is the first time they are coming together, irrespective of these differences, to speak against. So my point is, the seed has been sown, and it will continue. Enough is enough. People are tired, and we can't just be running away. We must make sure that we institute those changes meaningfully for in the interest of the citizens of the country.
Yeah, absolutely, and I really want to see that because for me, Nigeria is it, I mean, you're looking at the number, the young generation there, 70% being under the age of 30. If
Yeah,
if it doesn't change now, I don't know when it's ever going to change. So I really want to
exactly.
see
Yeah,
that, and
yeah.
hopefully it's in within our lifetime, because
I hope
again,
so too.
we are so running behind as a continent, and we need to change
Yeah.
that. My next question for you is, what are the work that you're doing now, and like what are you doing in terms of being here in Canada and looking to obviously settle here? What's the work that you're involved in overall?
Okay.
What are you looking to do?
In addition to my motivational writing, I have a background in medicine. I worked as a medical doctor, and I have a background in epidemiology and public health. So I work at the University of Ottawa as a coordinator on a lot of research projects that are focused on the health and well-being of African, Caribbean, and Black people. And I also serve on volunteer on some committees on their knowledge to action and community engagement to actually focus on these factors like systemic racism and structural barriers that prevent the African, Caribbean, and Black person from achieving their ideal set goals. And that is what I'm doing here, and I hope to continue to do that and be a voice not just for the Nigerian community, but for the African community, for the ACB community, and serve altruistically and selflessly, because that is what we need. Most immigrants come here and they politicize all these movements. We don't want any politics. We want people that are conscious about what's going on in Africa to make meaningful change. And I'm very glad for your platform, Kizito, and you are doing an amazing job too. And together we are going to improve Africa as a continent. Enough is enough. Our leaders cannot keep doing what they want to do and get away with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think sometimes when we talk about these topics, a lot of people look at this and they're like, oh, this is politics. But there is a difference between what we're doing and what people
Exactly.
who want to politicize and say, be on this side or be on that side. For me, all of this is one. If we are going to build our community, we need to be looking at it from a more, like in terms of policy development, making sure they're
Yeah,
on the tables, which is what you're doing. And I'm really
exactly.
glad that you're doing that within your first year in Canada, and
Thank
we look forward to seeing what you're gonna do. And of course, we're here. We want to collaborate. Let us know what's going on in Ottawa. We do have some members in Ottawa that are part of our team,
you.
so we would definitely want to be able to connect and bridge and do the work that we're supposed to do as a community. Maybe
Thanks a lot.
let the audience know where to find you, and yeah, especially on social
Okay,
media and your website.
okay. I have an Instagram account, Feel Good with Dr. Baro, and I also have a Twitter account, Dr. Baro. So my content is not boring. It's not all science and medical stuff. It's about content that will inspire people to make meaningful change in their community, because that is what you're going to hold, your values. At the end of your lifetime, materialism will be gone, your cars, your clothes, your jobs. But those values that helped you make meaningful change in people's lives and those amazing experiences, those are what you're going to live with. So feel good with Dr. Baru on Instagram and Dr. Baru on Twitter. And my
Amazing.
website is drbaru.com. Thank you too.
Your website is?
drbaru.com.
Thank you so much, Dr. Baro.
Thank
Really
you.
appreciate you joining us today. Again,
Thank
we
you.
wanted to catch up on what's going on in Nigeria, but also learn more about you and the work that you're doing. So
Okay.
connect with us. Let's make sure that we
Yeah.
learn more about the community there in Ottawa, and we'll
Okay.
continue from here.
All right. Thanks a lot, Kizito. I'm grateful.
I appreciate it.